It's crazy. I was watching this video. It's like a compilation of videos from TikTok where these like scammers are forming LLCs, and then in the first 60 days when you form an LLC, apparently you can go to a bank and get like a $50,000 loan with no collateral for your business. And so
That
they
sounds about right.
and so they spend a day going to like a dozen different banks, collecting their $50,000 at each one of these banks because by the system doesn't update fast enough, and they've got themselves a few $100,000, and they just dissolve the LLC and do it all over again.
Sounds about right, man. If you find out how to scam the system, we see in the stock market, it's
Yeah,
that easy.
absolutely. Just like that. That's what I see this family funds doing is that they have whatever wealth is their collateral, whether they made money off of creating, I don't know, a company that makes metal water containers or whatever, and then they get their little fortune, and then they you know buy their bonds, buy their blue chips, and they go to a bank and they say, hey, I've got a family fund, I would like to make some plays, may I have some margin please? And the bank just signs it over to them, and all of a sudden these dudes, who their expertise might not be trading, their expertise, it might be that they inherited a company from their dad, right? And they're all of a sudden making plays with billions of dollars, just billions upon billions. I mean, if you've got a $1 billion family fund, you can make $30 billion in trades off of that $1 billion. It just seems
Oh yeah.
completely irresponsible. Like, we're gonna get what we deserve out of this.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And, well, on top of it, the problem is you got these companies that are just they're bigger than these empires now at this point. If they want your product, I mean, competition's gone in the market. If they want your product, if you create something that can kill their business,
Yep.
they're going to just take your patents.
Yeah.
They're going to short and distort your company, destroy it media wise, and come over to you, predatory lend you convertible notes. Not they're going to call every lender possible. Do not do business with them, or else we will never do business with you again.
Yeah.
The only people you can keep going back to them, and they'll keep on, giving you money, convertible notes, and then they'll steal your patent, and that's it. Now these corporations, they really truly have no competition. Now they have what is called, dark money reached $1.3 billion. So they're giving the politicians their control. And now the politicians are like, now guess what? We got you guys on blackmail. So now they're Doge, all these people. Don't go get them, because if you go get them, then you're going to expose 100% of our politicians.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. The nature of the monopolies, and what are called also monopsonies, which are when you only have a couple of buyers for something, is astounding. Like, we're basically moving to the point where we've got two grocery stores in the entire United States of America. We'll have the Safeway, Albertsons, Kroger's, and then we'll have Walmart. And combining that with the fact that there's like 3 meat producers in the whole country that do like meat and dairy, and so Walmart can say, all right, dairy guy, you're going to sell me a gallon of milk for 87 cents a gallon. The dairy company's like, but I can't. It cost me 92 cents a gallon to make this milk. And the dairy company and Walmart says, well, you'll get nothing if I don't buy it from you, because I'm the only buyer. The dairy company goes, oh crap. And so they, start selling at 87 cents a gallon, losing 5 cents on every single solitary gallon of milk that goes out. And then they go bankrupt. And who buys them? Oh, probably Walmart. Right?
Yep. On pennies on the dollar. What do you know?
Yeah. They did the same thing with lots of, I think it was Home Depot and DeWalt Tools. So Home Depot signed an exclusive agreement with DeWalt Tools to, like, they're the only ones that can buy DeWalt. And DeWalt couldn't sell to anyone else. And then they changed the agreement and started purchasing the tools for below the cost of manufacturing them. And then DeWalt went under, and who bought DeWalt and all their patents and all their designs and their trademark and everything? Home Depot. So
that's what I'm saying. There's no longer a reason for these guys to buy your company.
Yeah.
They can make money doing it this other way and then steal it from you. No one's going to do anything about it, and then they just own your shit.
Exactly. Yeah. So, you can be the lucky person, like the 16 employees at Instagram when they sold for over $1 billion to Facebook, right? They're like, we're retired. And if they had waited longer, they probably would have been attacked from every single side by Facebook nefariously, and
oh yeah,
they would have got nothing for it.
Exactly. It's like
Yeah.
if you ever get that first offer, you got to just take it or else.
Yep.
And it's like I said, these guys have so much power. They're above the law that they run our politicians. Did you see, speaking of Facebook, did you see that in the last election, they borrowed 200 million plus from Mark Zuckerberg?
Oh, really? Because I just saw a thing maybe 2 hours ago that they're expecting to report a 43% revenue drop tomorrow.
Yeah, well, the government borrowed it because they didn't have enough money to, all these states didn't have enough money to pay the people at the polling stations.
Yeah.
So they had to borrow it from billionaires. Well, what do you think? They ended up getting favors? Of course they
Yeah.
got favors in the back end for that.
Yeah.
It's just insane. It's like our own government at this point is controlled by these corporations. What I feel like we're at this point where it's called a corporate republic.
Yeah.
It's all about the mighty corporations.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end of the day, they control the entire country.
That's
And everybody really, in the end of the day, works for them, just like how you said.
Yeah. South Korea is the perfect example of that. There's 5 companies in South Korea. That's
Yep.
it.
Yep. Exactly.
Like your Samsung, Hyundai, I don't know the other ones, but and even then they gobbled each other up. Like Hyundai and Kia just got gobbled up 10 years ago and became part of the Hyundai empire. And you if you have a job and it's not like a family restaurant, you work for one of those 5 companies. And post-war Japan had a big consolidation like that. You had your Panasonic, Hitachi, Toyota, Mitsubishi, but even now they've this aging, stagnating economy that these companies are like, oh crap, what do we do now? Because we've made everybody so utterly reliant upon our companies, and now there's not enough of them to work for us anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing. These guys, they're all these rich, super rich, are all so stupid. And they all say the same thing. I'd rather not have cash. I'd rather have credit. Well, if you guys are all relying on credit, everyone's on credit. Everything's,
Mm-hmm.
none of these guys have actual assets, this money. And then their base thing is, their main thing is for collaterals, their companies. Well, guess what? None of us now have money. None of us are spending money at your companies now because we can't.
Yeah.
So now all your collateral's going down. You're down because your companies are going down. Look at every bank, all these mortgage units. Wells Fargo just got rid of it completely. Think of all these departments that are going down, mass layoffs across tech companies.
Yeah, in the last year at Wells Fargo, they got rid of all of their consumer credit cards except one. They got rid of their personal loans division. They got rid of their mortgage division, and I think they got rid of their auto loans as well. So
yeah,
if you're a bank and you can't offer loans, what do you do?
Oh, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. And then these guys have trillions in derivatives. And it's the thing is most of these guys, like most people don't understand what's going on with the feds, other than just not even the repos. So the feds and BlackRock, why BlackRock took that massive hit as well.
Yeah, 1.7 trillion. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened was these banks, like I said, they're all over leveraged like crazy. And all of these houses were going to default.
Mm-hmm.
So the government went over. Now the feds own 2.7 trillion in mortgage-backed securities. The feds own more mortgage-backed securities than anybody.
Yeah.
That should never happen. So they did that to bail out these banks. So because all these defaults would have happened and they couldn't afford all of that.
Yep.
Well, then on top of that, they go, crap, we can only buy so many. Hey, BlackRock, can you go start buying these? Well, BlackRock went out and started bailing these banks out with cash.
Yeah.
Bought these houses with cash. Well, guess what?
The bubble
happened. Yeah. And then guess what happened? The housing, now you look across the board, houses are going down. Yep. Rates are going up. Well, if the rates keep going up, they're going to keep going down. And BlackRock, their assets are going to keep going down and layoffs. And all these guys that they thought, oh man, these guys are so powerful, have so much, they can bail us out forever. Nope, not when we have no money to continuously bail out those companies.
Yeah.
The companies still need to survive and they're not. So that's why I'm saying eventually the government and all these people got to look at it and go, either we need these CBDC so we can keep the illusion going.
Yep.
Or we need a MOAS to basically give our middle class that money. And guess what? They'll go back to them anyways because that's how the whole system's set up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy to think about, like, the Fed since June or July has been talking about quantitative tightening. Oh, we've got this 8 point whatever trillion dollars of securities we've been buying up, trying to keep the market afloat. But we're going to start we're gonna start dumping some of this. And they did a little bit. They're like, they had this plan. They're going to do like 40 billion a month. Let's go to 90 billion a month. And let's go to like 100 something billion a month. And I don't think they've ever crossed like 13 billion a month so far in dumping any securities. And then they jump right back in and buy up more. We see these weird days where, you know, no good news comes out. Like, you know, this summer when inflation reports, the CPIs were coming out and they were terrible. And, you know, the job growth is kind of stagnating. And we're getting this news that homes weren't being sold. And the SPY should have like fallen off a cliff. And instead, it kind of just like hung out and did just fine.
Yeah, we call that the plunge protection team for
exactly,
that one.
Yeah. And this $8 trillion of securities that are sitting in the Fed's balance sheets are not being dumped. But when they do get dumped, my guess is the $8 trillion will be worth maybe 4-5 trillion in the end. Because
exactly.
Once they start selling, the value of it disappears.
Mm-hmm. And that's why it's like you said, man, I don't understand how this can keep going on. Like these guys are stealing at such a rate that it's like you can't hide it forever. The inflation, and then like you said, nobody has money at this point to where you can't keep the charade going. We're gonna eventually wake up and be like, "What the hell's going on here?"
Yeah, and you know, my one hope out of all of it is that in the post-mortem, when you know the Congress has their committees and they're all trying to point fingers and make the blame, is that they go, oh, wait a minute, maybe we should not allow naked shorting. We should limit the ability to swap bad debt. Perhaps the solution will be, oh, we'll shore up some of these laws. I don't think they'll ever last because, you know, after the Great Depression, we made all these rules that the banks weren't allowed to use your money to play the markets. Then we stripped them all those rules, and then we had the crash in 08, 09. But, you know, at least for a little while, there'll be like a window where we can be like, oh, wow, this system can actually work now.
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna happen, man, for a little bit there. I just don't see it, man. Other than the fact if they get their CBDCs in because they want CBDCs for us, wholesale CBDCs for them. The wholesale CBDCs will go ahead and keep their bullshit going for a little longer. It's just like I said, man, it's crazy what's going on around us at this point. I just don't get how they can continuously do anything. They can't keep printing mass amounts of money. Inflation will just keep going crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like the feds are stuck. What are they going to do? Keep raising rates? Well, again, nobody's going to go out and keep taking mortgage loans. You see, the mortgage loans are like lowest ever for new houses. No one's taking them.
Yeah, no one can buy cars, and you know
you see they're now getting car repos are skyrocketing. Speaking of that,
they were bad this summer, and it was like 18,000 a day were being repoed this summer, and now it's probably 2 or 3 times that.
Yeah, it's insane, and it's like. If you looked at a new car average to get them the loan, it's $700 a month.
Yeah,
for a car.
15% are over $1,000 a month.
Yeah, who can afford that? That's half a house.
Yeah,
that is a house in some places.
15 years ago, $1,000 a month was getting you like a Lamborghini.
Yeah, exactly. Now you're getting that. You're getting mom and pop van or a truck for that,
and now you get like a Jeep Cherokee. Cool.
It's insane, and it's like eventually they can't keep doing this, and the only reason this is happening is because they're allowed to always steal. It's always on credit. They're allowed to steal. If you look at the United States, where's all of our debt? And this is the craziest thing about it all. Where's all the debt to? Us. It's the pensions, our insurance. When you're older, your retirement. Think when we're older, we're gonna go there and think we got this retirement, Social Security. Well, that'll be gone. Ain't gonna be there when you need it. Your insurance company, when they're not gonna have the money to do your giant operations when you're older, because guess what? That's already gone. It's borrowed off into the United States Treasury. And then what do they always say? We don't need to pay them back. Of course you don't need to pay us back. You're in no rush to pay that $22 trillion back to the public. Of course you're not. It's just crazy, man.
I mean, a lot of people don't realize that our Social Security, what they do with Social Security is you give money to the government, and the government takes that money and buys the government's debt with it. So Social Security is our federal bonds and some municipal bonds, things like that. And here we are, we're flirting with the debt ceiling. Like we're already at the point where we don't have the money at the moment to pay our interest towards our debt. So we're like taking money from really weird locations, from like the Parks Fund and whatever, to continue to pay the interest on this debt. And the interest on the debt screamed because we've had to raise interest rates to keep inflation from happening. So we're paying like 2.5 times the money towards interest as we did a year ago. And we've got maybe until June, probably sooner than that, before we run out of the schemes of like taking money from other areas where this money is allocated to pay this debt. And if we don't raise the debt ceiling, then your Social Security is gone.
Yeah.
Because the government won't be able to pay itself for the money it borrowed from itself, and it's just gone.
And on top of that, you're still paying all that interest. So
yeah,
it's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's why I keep saying to everybody, it's like so many people are so red or blue, and they're so about, oh man, that's all I care about. It's like, guys, look at who actually cares and is trying to help us, because all these politicians, 1.3 billion in dark money pays a lot of pockets and gets a lot of laws into place.
Yep.